Hey people, Ethan here. I'm recording this at like 1:30 a.m., so I'm like about to go to sleep, but I figure I really need to do this now because I'm not gonna get a chance to do it tomorrow. Um, the so bear with me if I sound, I guess, incoherent or really sleepy. So the topic of the week is how we got our names, and being the philosophical, I guess, idiot that I am, I had to make the process more complicated than it had to be. Um, so I started by asking myself, I guess, what is a name? And after some thought, I decided that a name was a very special label, and it is a label that holds the hopes, expectations, and associations the namer has. Um, with the name, and when the namer names somebody, he is placing, or she is placing, all of these hopes, expectations, and associations upon the person being named. And then over time, in turn, due to this person growing and developing, um, they will change the definition of that name for others. So new hopes and expectations, associations will be attached um, due to this person's personality, if that makes any sense. So names are a morphing label, a morphing definition. Um, what a name means to me now might mean something slightly different every single time I meet another person with that shares that name. So it's a morphing definition. So yeah, I had to make it complicated. Um, so the entire time it took was about approximately, I guess, 6 months. Yeah, about half a year for me to feel comfortable settling on a name and going to start the name change process, like legally. Um, and I knew it would take a lot of deliberation because of that definition of a name that I had in my head about how a name is conceptualized. I realized because I wasn't an infant, I've like already had developed for I guess 20 something years. Um, I needed to find a name that not only felt like that it fit what I already was, but also a name that would allow me to grow into, because I'm also a continually developing person. Um, so I knew right off the bat I was not going to do this alone. Like I needed the input of other people, and I ended up consulting, I guess, three circles in my life. One of the circles was my mentor, Professor Atwood, and then the psych TAs that hung out around with him. The second circle was my close friends that I made from middle school and that grew up with me throughout high school. Um, and the last circle was my dad. And these were the three circles that I knew I had to consult because these were the people that watched me grow the most, that have been present in my life for the biggest changes. Um, all names are open for consideration as long as it followed a couple rules. Um, I guess the first rule would be that no one that I interacted with, like I guess in my immediate life, could have that name because I didn't want it to be awkward. Um, if like I shared a name with someone that I saw like every day or every week. Um, the name had to be pronounceable by my parents because I needed the name to be used by them, and I also wanted it to sound like that it could have come from them, like that they could have named me. Um, and another thing was that it had to kind of sound generation appropriate, like names happen in cycles. Um, like just because things that are popular happen in cycles. So I needed a name that I knew that it would sound like someone my age could have it. That it sounded like that my parents could have given it to me. Um, so that meant probably something that sounded kind of, I guess, traditional. So after a lot of names being thrown around, that were put up for consideration, and then names that ran like all different sorts. Um, uh, I guess Ethan was the name that we kind of all could agree on, could settle on. Um, I mean, like opinions about that name varied. Like some people really liked it, and some people were like kind of indifferent to it, but no one had any negative feelings towards it, and they all could see that I could kind of fit. Um, for me, it felt comfortable. Like it was, I guess, traditional sounding enough that like it could come from my family. Like most of the names in my family are biblical names. Um, like at least the generation, my generation, tend to be. Um, so it kind of followed that pattern. But it was also rare enough in, I guess, my age group that I didn't hear it like constantly, so that it gave me space for me to kind of grow into it, and then I guess develop and define it for myself. And I felt like it was good to have that space to do that. Um, yeah, so those are really, I guess, thoughts. I mean, like after a while, after a while of trying to feel this name out and using it myself, like I looked it up and I realized that it meant um, strength and enduring, I think. And I found that that actually made me like the name more because it wasn't extremely, I guess, flashy in meaning, um, and I kind of liked that steadiness. Um, and it was nice to feel that like the name could ground me. And to this day, like I feel that it's not the flashiest name, and sometimes I wonder if maybe I could have named myself something flashier. But it's comfortable and I like it. So, and in a weird way, like at this point, it really just does feel like me. I don't hesitate when I hear the name, and I guess that's the point. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Kind of nuts, kind of crazy, kind of philosophical. Yeah, like I said, I made it more difficult than it really had to be. So yeah, I'm gonna go to bed now. Until next time, laters.